greetings from the San Francisco Bay Area, and welcome to this week's episode of Bridging the Gap. Today's guests are a Filipino-American family that will star in the upcoming YouTube series, Paano to Pinoy. This reality series uses a game show approach to educate viewers on how to be Filipino, hence the name Paano to Pinoy, through challenges concerning the culture and history. Starting July 4th, you can tune into the weekly episodes on Mix Global's YouTube channel. Please welcome the host of Paano to Pinoy, Hernando Planells, and his two children that will be participating in the weekly challenges, Preston and Gabby. Hi, guys.
Hey.
Oh! We are ready. Come
you guys
on,
ready?
man.
Yeah. Well, how are you guys doing today?
I'm doing amazing. I'm absolutely doing amazing. I don't know about my grown kids, but I'm doing amazing.
I mean, it's a good day. I mean, we've got a nice sunny day here in Salt Lake City, so enjoying it.
Us too in SoCal. Finally, the sun's coming out. We're ready.
Nice. So, for those who don't know, Hernando's in Las Vegas at the moment. Preston is in Salt Lake City, and Gabby is in SoCal. So they're kind of all spread out in America, but we're all here together to talk about Paano to Pinoy.
Woo.
So for those who don't know, this is my first time meeting the Planells, and it's amazing meeting creatives who are looking to uplift and highlight the Filipino community. So for those who are tuning in and intrigued to know who you guys are, how would you describe the Planells family?
I mean, we're an amazing family. I mean, that's probably the best way to explain it, right? We spent a lot of time apart and a lot of time together. And I think the great thing about us, honestly, is that we just give a lot of energy. I mean, when Preston's Salt Lake City, he's like a beacon of light in Utah. Gabby is in SoCal. Then she goes to NorCal for school. Am I wrong, guys? I think we're just pure energy all the time.
All the time. All the time. I mean, there's nothing else you can say. We feed off each other's energy. It's exciting all the time. There's always something to do. Whether it's carpool karaoke, dancing, it's always fun.
Yes. And something I'd add is that we always show up for one another. There's always if there's an event or someone's graduating or going to or having a show or something, we always show up for each other no matter what.
Are you guys full Filipino or part or half?
No, so I'm half. My mom is from Cagayan de Oro, and then I have all my kuyas and ates in Manila with everything. And then Preston and Gabby are a quarter.
Yeah.
Quarter plus, I like to say it.
Yeah.
With it. But yeah, so that's pretty much how we got to the show.
So with that in mind, how do you guys incorporate Filipino traditions and customs into the family dynamics?
Go ahead, Gabby. I'm hogging the mic way too much, everybody. Come on. Come on.
I'm thinking. We do, well, most of the time, since we are in different places a lot, it's really hard for us to see our family or just have time to talk to our Filipino side of our family. But we go to we connect with Filipino food. We are a food family for sure. We go to every food place, anything that's people are oh, it's a little sketch. We're there. We're ready. And I think that how we bond with our Filipino culture and our Filipino side is definitely through food. And especially for Paano to Pinoy, we make 2 dishes on the show. And we think that it really, really helps us connect with who we are, learning what even goes into these dishes and what they're called and knowing that you can change the recipe based on your background and your story.
I would say, honestly, the biggest way that we show it is incorporate culture, Filipino culture, is through family. I feel we are huge in just, I know that family is very important, not only for us, but through Filipino culture. And we're all really close. I'm really close with, we call her Nani, my grandma, she's great. And we all stay in contact all the time. We have a group chat, we have a couple group chats. And like we said before, TikTok videos. And I think we're really just strong in that family aspect, which helps us a lot, which is great.
Yeah, and I think the other part, the kids don't know this, but growing up, okay, so I grew up more on the Filipino side. My mom would always, I'd wear a barong Tagalog, and I'd go ahead and go to all the different little parties and everything else. But Preston and Gabby did not. A lot of their Philippine background and heritage was from my mom, was from all my ates and kuyas, the food and everything else. But we pick up different things. Like they're both really good singers. They probably, my daughter will admit it. My son, he's a very good singer. He just doesn't want to admit it. But we're great at karaoke, which is like the Philippine national language beside everything else. It's karaoke, right? So it's all those things that we try and do. And as Preston and Gabby get older, they're even more curious about their Philippine heritage and visiting and just being a part of all of it.
Nice. So, as I was preparing for this interview, I saw that Gabby is attending Chico State studying musical theater, while Preston is a collegiate swimmer who just graduated from the University of Utah. So, congratulations to all of you, especially you, Hernando. You don't have to pay tuition anymore. So that's amazing.
I definitely overachieved with my two kids. They're amazing.
And we're super thankful that our parents allow us to follow our dreams and allow us to, and super just thankful that they allow us to do what we love to do and follow our passions.
Yeah. And that's very important, especially now in Filipino culture, for people young like us to want to pursue what we want to do rather than follow the traditional route of be a nurse or be something in the medical field. So to be an example of following your dreams or following the passion or just doing what makes you feel happy is amazing. But, Gabby and Preston, in regards to the communities that you guys are involved in, are there any outlets available for you to connect with the Filipino culture?
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, at least for me, there is at Chico. I believe there is a Filipino club. They've reached out to me a couple times, and I've actually met some members of the Filipino club. I was a part of a dance group for dance club, and there was a lot of Filipinos there, and I actually got to meet a lot of them, and it was super cool because I was I went to Chico and I was like, where are all the Filipinos at? And then I went to dance club and I was like, there they all are. I was like, yes, I found my people. It was awesome. I definitely love dance club because there was almost half of the club was Filipino.
Yeah, and I guess for me, I happen to just run into Filipinos. I haven't really found any outlets. There probably is a Filipino club on campus or something. I haven't had the time to explore it at all, but I happen to run into Filipinos all the time through mutual friends. There's actually a Filipino on the Utah gymnastics team who I'm really good friends with. They had a successful season this year. I just kind of run into people. I'm like, you look Filipino. You might be my brother or sister. You just kind of look, and you're like, I've seen you around at family gatherings. You just kind of look. But for outlets wise, I just I haven't seen it on campus. I think there is, but that's kind of what I've seen from Utah.
Nice. So adding to that question, what challenges have you faced in your journey of connecting with the Filipino culture?
Ooh, I'll go first, Gabby. I got you. So, I would say, just not being around it all the time. My only Filipino culture and background is from my dad's side, and growing up, we didn't see them that often. It was kind of hard, and luckily, as Gabby and I get older, we're more curious. We want to be more involved with our family. But, one of the things was just kind of getting to be familiar with everything, Filipino dishes, and just knowing different things. But that's all I would say about it.
Yeah, to continue the route you were going on about family, it's a lot of our cousins only speak Tagalog. And I think that some of the challenges that we face is not being able to communicate with them in that way. I know that for me, definitely, it's something I want to start learning is Tagalog, because I just think it's so cool, and I think it's most of my family speaks it, and I feel like I have a little bit of me missing if I don't understand or want to connect in that way. But yeah, I just to agree with Preston that we didn't have a lot of time to spend with them when we were younger, but now we do, and I'm super thankful for that time, and I'm grateful for our heart as a family and us wanting to connect.
Beautifully said.
And I think one of the other challenges is that we really don't look Filipino, especially me. I go back home to the Philippines. They think I'm just some American there trying to marry a Filipino woman. No, I'm half Filipino. Come on now. So I'd go. So like you mentioned, I'm in Vegas. Huge Philippine community here. And they're all at Walmart. Okay. So I go to Walmart and I'm always like, Kuya, Filipino? Like Filipino ako? You know, we like go back and forth, and I can't speak Tagalog, but I can understand it. And then I'm wearing I have the shirt that says guapo on it. And so I'm all over Walmart. I'm getting second looks, not because I'm guapo, but because my shirt says guapo. And that's like, oh, Filipino? You know, it's like the best thing. And then at times I do get confused on my food videos for being Joe Coy's better looking, not as much money brother. I get confused like that.
It's true.
Was waiting for Joe
comments, people.
But those are our challenges. Big challenges here, as you can tell. Huge.
Yeah, no, to be honest, when you're mentioning Vegas and Walmart and people looking at you, I was going to ask you, wait, do people like come up to you and ask if you're Joe Coy or if you take photos? Do they actually?
No, they will. Well, I've had only a few people, but usually, so I also have a food Instagram. Mm-hmm. So I've done food reviews on like lumpia and pancit and sisig, and the comments are just so many of, oh, I thought it was Joe Coy's brother. I'm like, no, I'm not Joe Coy. But if you like my autograph, I could go ahead and give it to you.
You're like, but it'll say Hernando Planells.
Yeah, but it'll say, or it may say with H, Hokoy. I may just replace the J with the H, Hokoy.
Have you guys eaten Okoy? Like the food? Oh my gosh, it's amazing. It's like this fried like food where it's like there's this many vegetables, and then you can add like, what is that? Sweet potato and shrimp, and then you can dip it in vinegar. Oh my gosh, it's like really good. You guys should try that.
We all got to go to Seafood City, everybody. We're going to Seafood
Let's
City.
Go.
That's where it is.
So, as we dive into this conversation about the series, Hernando, I'm like curious to know what led you to wanting to expose Gabby and Preston into the Filipino culture and history in a creative way.
I think it's really important, right? So growing up, because I'm half, you kind of feel like you don't belong to a certain community, right? But because I was raised more on the Filipino side, because my mom was always saying, come on, come with me, I'm much more closer to that side. And then every time I'd go back home to the Philippines, you just like feel at home, right? You just feel so comfortable. I worked there. I used to be the basketball consultant at the University of the East, UE. Been there 5-6 times, right? So I thought that was really, really important. And I wanted my kids to do it, but I want to do it in a way where it's not force fed to them, right? Like I'm 13 years old. My mom breaks out a shirt, a Barong Tagalog. And I'm like, what is this shirt, right? It's stiff. You can't move in it a little bit. And my kids have never worn a Barong, but they've seen it. But it's more like trying to get them to really tie into who they are, because it's so important, right? As they get older and with everything else and being leaders in their own community, they have to understand who they are, where they come from and how they relate to it. So having this outlet with Paano to Pinoy and with everything we're doing is number one, a huge blessing personally, but then, I get to do it with my kids. And I even feel like a little awkward calling them kids because they're not really kids. They're grown people. But when I get to do that as a dad, it's It's the most amazing thing, honestly.
So then what inspired you to document this journey and produce it as a YouTube series?
I mean, that's a great question. I think it really just comes down like, hey, let's see what they know or they don't know, right? Let's do, and what's a great way of introducing culture than through like a game like atmosphere, right? If I just say, hey guys, this is lumpia, you wrap it and you fry it, like here's a challenge, here's what you get to do, you get to see what the vegetables are like, you get to cut up a pig's ear, which they've never had, right? And the great thing about it, they weren't like, ew, this is gross. I mean, they both took the ear and like wiggling it around and stuff, right? So when you do that, you're introducing something that's fun. And as we all get older, we like games. And games is a great learning mechanism, whether it's in schools, universities, whether it's in athletics. People love games. Even when I do public speaking events, I play games with the audience because it captivates them, brings them to that place, and then inspires them to want to know more.
So, in the series, just as you mentioned, we'll see Gabby and Preston participate in weekly tasks that highlight the Filipino culture. So what was the process like in creating and participating in these specific challenges?
Gabby, you can answer.
We honestly, like, Dad explained like what was going on, and he was like, would you guys like be interested in like doing this and like connecting more with your culture? And Preston and I, of course, are like, yes, we want to know everything Filipino. We're like, everything. We want to know it all. And so we really thought this was a good opportunity for us to like connect with our roots that we didn't know, and so like we when we started filming, we were nervous because we were like, we know we have to at least like read some Tagalog or speak it. And it was definitely outside of our comfort zone a little bit because we didn't know what to expect. But I'm so happy that we did it. And I'm so happy that I get to know more about who I am and my family,
Yeah, I mean, just to add on to that, I would say that for being an athlete, I was kind of excited to compete against my sister because it's been years since I had really competed with her, like with anything, right? I've lived away from home, haven't seen her that often. So for a solid like couple of days, it was like, oh, like, okay, let's see what happens here. And at the same time, I got to learn, right? Like one of the things I've been able to be, blessed with is doing a sport that I love. And I try to incorporate what I've learned being an athlete into my life. And, every time you lose or every time something doesn't go your way, I got to learn. And, that's kind of what happened when I was trying to speak Tagalog or learning how to make the dish, right? It was like, this doesn't seem right, but I'm learning how to do it correctly. You know what I'm saying? And it was a great experience. I loved every second of it. And that's kind of the approach I took.
And I have to add, Preston went back and made lumpia for his roommates.
I did. And they all loved it. It was great. It was a success.
Amazing. So you guys did mention that you guys had a challenge where you guys had to speak Tagalog. What was the hardest Tagalog word you guys had to say?
Well, we had to read like a recipe and the steps for it. I honestly don't remember what it said. All I remember is being stuck and being like, this kind of sounds like this, and I think this is what this is, to like pair with our ingredients. And so that's how my approach was. I was like, I think this goes with this. I think this goes with that. It was kind of guessing, but it was cool, like sounding out the words and just like trying to read Tagalog,
So, the fun thing about learning Tagalog was, I'm going to say it, Google search. Google Translate was the savior of the day. Because there was one point where, we thought we needed something, we needed one vegetable, and then we used a different vegetable, and I was like, this doesn't seem right. Like maybe I'm wrong, but I typed it in. I was like, oh, like this is right. Like you got to start. And the funny thing is, growing up in America too, we use hooks on phonics, which is you pronounce every single letter, every single thing. So it's like I'm trying to pronounce it, and my dad's looking at me like, no, that's not how you say it. That's not. I'm trying to like use like my mouth and my words. I'm like, this is not sounding correct. I can't remember any words off the top of my head, but
yeah, I'm trying to find the
recipe,
the ingredients.
Yeah.
With
We
it.
thought tomatoes was like a
I
cabbage
can't remember.
Like
or something like
cebolla.
that.
But it was so many, so it's like
Cilantro.
all these things. Now, luckily, on Seafood City, they have the translation in it as well too. But they have to like go. They're looking at all the different things to figure out, and then eventually they just had to learn like what the history of the different foods, of where it came from, and everything. So I told them, I was like, this is gonna be step by step. We won't be learning how to speak Tagalog all together. You'll learn a few words, and hopefully you remember, but you'll learn how to cook the food, which is really impressive.
This.
Yeah. No, like, because I'm in the middle of like learning how to speak Tagalog as well. So the one thing that tricks me up is I have to use the back of my throat, and I think you guys will probably learn that too, to like get the pronunciation like kind of a little bit into the Filipino side where it sounds like that you're not like from America.
Yeah.
American. Sound
If
American.
yeah, because if you don't know, the alphabet is so different in the Philippines than here. So like QU here is like queen, quest, question, but there is kya, which is like weird. Which not weird. It's not weird. It's just like mind blowing, Yeah.
Well, I would tell them, because when I go, in my everyday life, I'm not around a lot of people who speak Tagalog. So when I go there with my family, it takes me about half a day to a day for me to start understanding what they're saying. So I was just there a month ago, and my ate was saying something, and I said, "Hey," I said, "Hui, I know what you said. Don't try to fool me. I know what's happening here. You're trying to sell me, ate. That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to sell me." And I stopped her from doing it.
Yeah. As you pick up things here and there, they'll start forming sentences, especially if they mix in like an English word, you'll know what they're saying. So,
That's good to know.
Yeah. So if you guys keep on like being exposed to it, whether that's from music or that's from like, watching TFC, like, yeah, you'll get it.
Yeah.
You'll get it perfectly.
Yeah.
But, participating in these challenges must have been a fulfilling experience. Which aspects of the Filipino culture particularly like resonated with you?
Oh,
That's a good question.
I know. I'm trying to think.
Wow.
Well, Dad, you go first.
Well, I think what resonated was, they had to, we had a Walis challenge. So they had like no idea. And we had to do it with a bunot, the coconut, right? And we couldn't find a bunot here in the States. So luckily, one of our friends was coming over. His wife had brought a bunot. TJ's wife brought a bunot. So we were able to do that. And I didn't know what that was. So I know what a walis is and a ting ting. I know all that stuff, but in using it and doing it in a game like atmosphere, I think was probably the best one. And then I think the other part, they and you'll see it in the show, but the way they had to cook sisig, they'll learn that they have to finally chop things a little more in sisig. But I mean, that's part of what they're learning. And for me, that was like just watching them cook and take ownership with that it's just, you guys will love the show. I'm just telling you right now, you will love it.
Honestly, I'd say what resonated with me was the pig ear moment. It was I will say, and I'm proud to say, that I am pretty good in the kitchen, and I have never
meal prepper,
ever. I am a meal prepper, and I have never ever thought to use pig ear in a dish. And I was like, this is so interesting. Like, I was like, there's a point, like, we put the ears next to our ears. I was like, this seems off, but I'm going to do it anyways. Like, but it was fun. It was exciting. That's what really resonated with me, was the fact that I got to kind of use different, try different things. And that's what I wanted to do was try different things, using pig ears, using anything else was really what resonated with me.
Yeah, I agree with the food aspect, definitely, because like as growing up, like we knew what lumpia was. Like that was like the, I guess, dish or snack that we knew the most out of any other Filipino food or anything. And like I've had like different versions of it, like, and it was just cool for us to actually have to make it. I was like, this is so different. I love it. I was so excited because I was like, I get to make lumpia. Like, I've never made it before. This is so awesome. Because it's always been like, we've always bought it from somewhere else or something. And it was just a cool experience to learn like how to make lumpia, because it's so popular. And also people who aren't Filipino know what lumpia is. Mm-hmm. So it's awesome to like come back and like share that with people from where I'm from in Chico and everything.
You guys mentioned making lumpia, and you guys are like probably around 20, right? So,
yes, definitely. I'm around 20. Thank you so much.
Yeah, anytime. But like, anyways, that's like when I was attending college at UCLA, that's when I started to learn how to rap lumpia. And then, it's actually like it's an amazing experience because you're just so focused on making sure the rapper doesn't like breaks. And like, it's just like, you're just so focused on the task. Mm-hmm. And like distractions, like, no, you're just like, you're like, yes, tunnel vision.
Like, it's too big or it's too thin. Like, it's not staying. It's like, why does mine look like a burrito? Wrong culture. We need to make smaller.
Yeah, you guys will see in the episode. What happens.
You guys didn't. What I read is that you guys did do karaoke. Were there any songs that you like to sing?
Oh, like during it? Or just like in general?
No, I mean, we do karaoke in general.
Yeah.
Usually in the car.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know.
We do a lot of, well, because I'm a musical theater major. And so like we do a lot of like The Greatest Showman. We do a lot of like musical movies. And then we just like recreate the roles in the car, wherever we're driving to.
Yeah. Greatest Showman. We do Hamilton.
Yeah. Oh, we're big Hamilton people.
We do maybe some Disney, maybe a Little Mermaid, Lion King.
Yeah. Preston likes Beauty and the Beast. He loves that one.
He's a huge fan of Beauty and the Beast.
Yes. I'm guilty, but I will say, like, every time we're in the car together, I have to star Disney hits because I'm like, this playlist is gonna play no matter what. Yes, I'm guilty of Beauty and the Beast.
I mean, I get it, because if I could be one cartoon character, I'd be Aladdin.
Yeah. Okay. But I will say that we have listened to like old, like not old, but like 2000s, 90s R&B, like Keisha Cole. Yeah, I got you. Those kind of things.
Vintage rap.
Sorry, vintage.
Preston and Gabby are well versed with Tupac and Biggie.
Oh yes, you have to. And Dr. Dre.
Yeah.
Come on now.
Warren G.
That's right. I've taught them well. Everybody taught them well.
Which we all need. We all need like music from the 90s, because I don't know, music from today is kind of like, really? Like,
I agree.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's just like money. Twerk. I'm like,
a lot of other things. Yeah, a lot of other things.
And I'm just like, really, you wasted all that time and effort on just something like this? I don't know. I miss some
soul. You know, like,
yeah.
I'm like, also
rap this, and you're like, I don't know what you're saying because it doesn't make sense. Like,
and all the songs,
we know the words.
Like every single song sounds the same to me now. I'm like, the songs of today, I'm like, didn't we just listen to that song? They're like, no, it's a new song. I'm like, it sounds the same.
Yeah. With that in mind, have you guys been exposed to like OPM? That's like original Filipino music, like the Tagalog songs.
No.
We are yet to listen.
No. That is
Oh my
next
God.
on the agenda. You know what? When we shoot our next episodes, that's what we'll probably end up doing.
That'd be
Oh,
so-
we do. Yeah, I think that's on the docket. We're gonna have to sing some OPMs.
You guys, you know what you guys should do? You guys have to sing, and like you might not know what they're saying, but you guys can probably interpret the song, like with the feeling. So that's the one challenge that I would want to see from you guys, because I think that'll be amazing and funny at the same time.
It will be very funny.
Yeah. And at least we have rhythm.
We have rhythm. We can carry a tune. The pronunciation may end up being the downfall. But
Oh,
we're
yeah.
gonna
It might just
That's okay.
be
I
a
like that
cover of the song.
Yeah.
Yep.
I like that too. It's okay. The pronunciation, like if you hear it a lot or you just play it on repeat, it'll come to you eventually.
Yep.
Yeah. But you know, the feeling will always be there.
Yes, the romanticism.
Yeah. The sadness. Oh my gosh. But okay. So I don't know if you guys know about this, but you know, recently there was controversy on social media between Filipinos in the homeland and Filipino-Americans. And the argument started due to the idea of wearing the Filipino flag as a stole. And while many Fil-Ams wear the Filipino stole to represent our roots and our culture, many Filipinos outside of North America perceived it as we only represent our culture, wear it, or participate in Filipino-related activities as an aesthetic. So like doing tinikling or like saying you know how rappers, they just blatantly say like, oh yeah, I'm Filipino. And then they just they talk about it and then they don't talk about it again. So, you know, some people might see that as an aesthetic. So for you, Hernando, like how do you ensure that the guidance you provide to your kids to connect with the Filipino culture goes beyond the surface level knowledge and becomes more of a meaningful and authentic connection?
Well, I think it's doing what we're doing with the show, right? I think it goes back to what we're saying, like we're playing games, so it sparks more of an interest. I mean, let's face it, really, our people, we assimilate to any culture around the world. And it is difficult, but that doesn't make one person less Filipino than the other one. And so, and I know a lot of Filipinos who I grew up has never even visited the Philippines. And it's almost like they're frowned upon, but that's not it. It's who we are as people, and showing respect and love and honor, whether you're wearing something or saying something, right? Just because it's just like, and I do compare this, like when someone is religiously devout, they don't have to scream how much big their faith is all the time to have faith. You don't have to scream all the time how much of a Filipino are you to be Filipino, right? Even when I mean, you know, we don't look very much Filipino, but that's who we are. And luckily I haven't come across anybody who has ever said, hey, you shouldn't be wearing that, because I probably have some strong words for them, but it doesn't take away of how I was raised and how my kids are raised. And if we truly are a world population, right? If we truly are accepting other people, then we are accepting wherever anybody's from and what they do and where they are, etc. And you know, when I saw that online, I found that so interesting, because every time I go to the Philippines, I don't get that at all. When if I'm wearing a barong or I'm wearing something else, like I don't get anything at all that anybody has ever said to me whatsoever. So I wonder how big of a faction it is where people are making, or is it like in many cases, a small group of people who make the loudest noise? Because ultimately, being Filipino doesn't mean you were born in the Philippines. Being Filipino is who you are, how you live, how you love, and how you treat your family. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Oh, yeah. I love it. That was a great response, Dad. Get it.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I would add to that is I know a lot of Filipinos that are, you know, mixed with a different race or ethnicity, you know, and they're just as, I would say, uneducated or not as knowledgeable at like I am and want to grow, are willing to grow and learn, and kind of like what my dad said just now with the small group. If it is a small group being loud, like the only thing I would say is there are people in North America or around the world that are curious about it. I've heard every single person that I've come across that is Filipino wants to visit the Philippines, wants to go and experience something new, something where their roots are from, and I think that's a big difference, right? Like you mentioned, someone saying, something like being Filipino in a rap song, right? I would say that, you can say that once, but you got to know their intentions, right? And the people that I know and I'm around who are Filipino, I know what their intentions are, and I'm happy to know that, like, we all want to go there someday and learn more. It's exciting.
I completely agree. Like I don't meet I only know like only a couple of my friends that are full Filipino. All the Filipinos I know are either half or a quarter or something else. But yeah, like and when I see people wearing like the stool with the Filipino flag, in my opinion, I root them on, because I'm like, yes, like be in contact with your culture, like be proud of who you are, and it makes me sad to hear that some people in the Philippines don't view it in that way. It's just different in their opinions, but yeah, I think for me and us, I think we're the type of people like to hype them up and be like, yeah, connect to your roots, like find out who you are. Like maybe you didn't have access to that when you were younger, and so now is the time that you want to take that step forward for yourself.
Yeah, and that's it. I have my Filipino shirt. Huh?
I wish I
wear
had mine
this.
on hand.
I wear this, and it's great because today I just happened to be at the hospital. Took a friend of ours to the ER, and of course, all the nurses are Filipino. So of course they're like, "Oh, I love your shirt." I'm like, "Oh yeah, I love your shirt." I'm like, "Great, yeah." It's because I do this, and they ask. Like, there's a curiosity part of it that is so important, and I think it's really narrow-minded. But that's the way a small group of people are with everything else. So we're proud Filipinos, and we say it up and down all the time, and it's just who we are.
With that in mind, and with everything that has happened within the global Filipino community, how do you see Paano to Pinoy tackle these assumptions and provide a perspective that may not be considered or easily understood?
I'd say joy, right? There's joy and happiness in the show. And here's the thing, people connect with laughter. People connect with challenges, right? So now when they see a family, because, it's me and my kids doing this, they feel more inspired. I'm hoping they feel more inspired to touch their own heritage, whether Filipino or not, right? It's learning their background, who they are, where they come from. And when they grab that and they hold on to that, they start learning different things, right? We joke around all the time that, all Filipinos are nurses. I am 46 years old. I know I look younger. Thank you so much. But my mom is still asking, when am I going to nursing school? What? I'm not going. Mom, I'm not going. I know Gabby's had the same experience where they're like, wow, your parents let you choose what you want to major in, right? Like it's so important. In order for us to grow as a community, as people, we have to explore all the different things that we want to and we want to chase. And if we don't, then we're shortchanging our life, and we're also shortchanging our Filipino community.
I agree. I hope people do find joy in Paano to Pinoy. And I also think that people who are half or a quarter, I hope they see a little bit of themselves in these challenges and in the struggles that we had during the show that we didn't know, and the challenges that we had to do. I hope they're also like, oh, like I'd be struggling with that Tagalog too, or like even what goes into sisig and all of that. But yeah, I hope that people see like our family aspect, and they're like, okay, they're just a different type of Filipino family.
They mentioned joy. I hope people see the smiles. I think we try to smile very like consistently. My dad used to send us texts about how amazing each day is, waking up, being, just waking up and having another opportunity to be better. And I hope that people who are, like my sister said, half, quarter, full, people from the Philippines see that, yes, we are far away, but we are trying so hard to feel like we're at home and together in our roots. I think, when we find joy and have smiles, it almost not only gives my sister and I and my dad as well, like this comfort, like, oh, we're doing this, like it's exciting, but it also shows people that we're genuine about doing this. Like there's no, fake, there's nothing fake about it. There's nothing fake about the show. Like you see us, there was a point where there was food flying everywhere. And there were genuine, reactions like, oh, like I'm pretty sure they might have, cut out a curse word, right? Like, that is like, genuine things. And I think that is one of the things that I hope people will take away from it, is how genuine and how honest and how true the show is, and how, how much we're learning and enjoying the process and the journey of trying to get back to that and learning more about Filipino culture.
I see like the devotion and the excitement that you all have with Filipino culture, and with like doing the show, or just like with your prior experience. And experience comes with knowledge. Hernando, I want to know, have you noticed any changes in your children's attitudes or behaviors as a result of learning about the Filipino culture?
I don't know if it's changes. It's more of a curiosity, right? It's more like, wow, this is really, really cool, right? Like just from, and what Press was saying, like oil splattering everything, everywhere, the house smelling like oil after you cook, because you're like, oh my gosh, we basically fried everything, right? It's from all those things where they're just curious to do more, like with Preston making some lumpia. And then when Gabby's like, Dad, let's go make this, or let's go to another seafood city, or let's do all, like, how do we do this? How do we expand what we're doing? So, when people are curious, that means they have this hope that they want to learn more. And all you can do as a parent is educate. You don't want to force feed them. You want to say, hey, this is really cool. Like, this is who you are. This is who you're going to be for the rest of your life. So have something in you. So it's really curiosity. And again, I know we've talked about joy a whole lot, in the last like 15 minutes, but that's what they have. And that, as a dad, more than anything, is one of the greatest gifts you can just share with your kids.
You heard it from your dad. But Preston, Gabby, I want to know, how has your journey of connecting with the Filipino culture impacted your identity or sense of belonging?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Gabs.
Sorry, you've had the last couple. I'm like, I'm gonna take it over.
You're good. Go ahead.
I definitely, after filming Paano to Pinoy, and even when we found out that we were going to do it, I found myself like noticing more things connected to Filipino culture, or just like trying to, at least, like talking to my friends more about the Philippines, because they've been and I haven't, but I find myself asking more about like their home life and their traditions, because I didn't grow up with that. And so I'm super like interested, and also just scrolling through TikTok and social media and seeing other people's experiences. I've caught myself definitely like just wanting to be more invested, and just finding just more and more about Filipinos. Like I love it, and finding out who I am and my brother is,
To answer your question, Gabby kind of mentioned it a little bit. I've caught myself, almost my entire TikTok feed is Filipino related.
Yes.
It's unbelievable. It's nursing jokes. It's Filipinos dancing. It's Filipinos cover their own, like, their own style of cover songs.
I know.
Right? Like, it's one of those things, and it's exciting because not only am I, seeing this from TikTok and other social media platforms, but like my dad said, like I made my friends lumpia one day, and I got to find my own seafood city, here in Salt Lake City, and it was kind of fun because I FaceTimed my dad when I was there, and I was like, so what do you think about this? How's this? Like, can I try putting something else in lumpia? Like, what can I do with this? How far can I go? And it was exciting because I still have like some ingredients in the fridge that I've used, and I still find myself liking and saving different Filipino dishes. And I'm like, once I find a place for myself, let's try it. Like I don't want to mess up the kitchen, but I find myself little things, music, right? Like I love music. I love listening to it. I love finding new genres. And TikTok is now giving me, Filipino artists, right? That are based here, based in the Philippines, right? And it's exciting to see since doing the shows, I would have never been exposed to something like this. And knowing that every single day I'm getting something new is really exciting, and I find joy in it.
As you all shared in the conversation, you are involved in so many spaces regarding sports or in the arts. As the series has led you three to develop an appreciation of the culture and the community, what aspirations regarding how you can uplift and highlight the Filipino community and culture can you put into those spaces that you are involved in?
Ooh, I'll go first again. Sorry, guys.
Thinking.
Honestly, I would say one of the things that I noticed about Filipino culture and that I always find through my friends who are Filipino, family members, is I want to go back to it, the word joy and smiling and happiness. And in my sport specifically, I'm going to go the athletic route. I am waking up every day at about 5:30 in the morning, leaving my house, going to work out at 6 o'clock in the morning, 6 to 8 in the morning, and training later that day at around 2 o'clock. We do that from August till about February. What you notice, and specifically for my team, is that it weighs on you. It weighs on you. It weighs on you. And I try to I'm very much a morning person. I have a morning vibes playlist, and I'm blasting it at 5:45 in the morning, watching my teammates walk into practice and me just showing up, excited, happy, because I noticed that if I could if no one else is bringing the joy, who's going to bring it? And that's just a personality thing, but I've connected it to being Filipino, right? Like almost every single Filipino I've talked to or I've met is genuinely happy and content with their life, right? And I'm happy and content with my life right now, being in the present, whether that's being at 5:45 a.m. practice and encouraging my other friends. They're like, this dude's crazy, right? But at the same time, I'm embracing that, right? Like I'm embracing that. I know that it's part of me. It's something that I know that Filipinos and Filipino culture is based around, is happiness and being, being in the present, enjoying what you have and being grateful. And I put it through my team. I try to influence that a lot more, especially through harder workouts, right? And that's really what I do.
Yeah, like Preston has swimming in his workout routine. I have art, and so a lot of since I'm a musical theater major, there isn't a wide population of Filipinos in at Chico State, but I we always happen to find each other though. And so actually one of my really good friends is in my same department, and she's half Filipino, and we bond a lot about food and family and music and just like different types of music in the Philippines. And so we connect through that way, but also like I mentioned previously, how I was in a dance club and how there was a lot of Filipinos there as well. those were the Filipinos that actually were surprised that my parents let me follow what I want to do, because they are all studying to be nurses. But yeah, we connect through art, and I'm super grateful for that, because I'm happy that I have something that we can connect through together and connect through our culture together.
You know what I think I love the most is when I'm able to communicate and connect with other Filipinos. I know I always say this about Walmart. It's just because I go to Walmart and all my Filipino families are there, right? So when just saying little things and speaking as much as I can, my very little Tagalog, but I could understand, and hearing them and everything else, right? Because everybody just loves to talk. And I think our people have such a great joy for life. Even when I was working at UE, I lived in the Recto area, and which wasn't the greatest area. But you would, a lot of people didn't have anything, and they would just, when it would rain, they'd break out their big Head and Shoulders and just shower in the rain, right? Like, but it's that joy with it. So it's bringing with that all the time. It's like we're Filipino. We bring joy, we bring passion in everything that we do, and it's just a part of us. So whether I'm coaching or I'm speaking or Preston swimming or Gabby is singing and dancing and all those things, like we're bringing it. It is a part of who we are as a family, but because we are as families, because of our Filipino culture as well too.
You guys mentioned the word joy, and that really exemplifies what Filipinos are. They're joyful because, some people may have a lot, or some people may have like so little, but at the end of the day, even those who don't have like a lot, they're still joyful because they're just like in the moment, and they're proud of who they are. They're proud of like where they come from. So for a lot of people who will tune into Paano to Pinoy, I feel like you guys will exemplify joy so well that it will it will probably make a lot of people reevaluate like where they're at in their life and how they can find joy, or what type of outlets that they can go to either connect with their culture or with anything that they are interested. We are at my last question, and I don't know if you guys know, but this last question always like makes people kind of scared. But
bring it. Come on.
Whether you're an artista or just a regular person, it takes time for you to like figure out what you can say with this question. So my question for you all is, with Paano to Pinoy, how do you see yourselves and the YouTube series bridging the gap between viewers who are interested in learning about the Filipino culture or finding a sense of identity?
I think I'll answer that question right now.
Yeah, you take that one.
Take it away.
They will be inspired. I think they will be inspired to want to learn more. And not only about their own culture, their own family, but about other things as well too, right? Because when you increase your knowledge, when you're curious about other people, about your own self, then all of a sudden you learn more, you appreciate more, right? You love more. And I think that's what people are going to get. When they watch Paano to Pinoy, they're going to see a family that they can relate to. They're going to see a joy and passion that they're like, you know what? They can do it. Why can't I do it? I mean, we're regular people, right? That's all we are. We're regular people, just like our viewers. And they're going to see that and want to progress forward with that. They're going to learn how to cook. They're going to learn laughter with their family. And then they're all going to want to bring that to their own selves. And when they do that, then all of a sudden they raise their level of joy, passion, love. And then they'll be like, you know what? I really am proud to be Filipino. Not just saying it, but you know what? It's who I am. It's what I do. It's what I want to be every single day, and I move forward.
That's so hard to follow up.
Yeah.
That is very hard.
That is very hard. Like
Yeah.
I would like, as he's talking, I'm like, I'm gonna nail this. Mention that. I'm like, are you kidding me?
You took the words out of our mouth.
Oh gosh. Okay, so
I am
let me.
Pops.
I'll take some bits and pieces from my dad. I would say inspired to, but I want to kind of focus on the curiosity standpoint from what my dad said. I think when, we can bridge it by having people be curious about their own lives, right? Like my dad said, and I kind of mentioned it earlier. It's like when you take a step back and you look at your life or look at who you are, like that's basically kind of like what we were doing in the episodes. We had to take a step back and acknowledge that this isn't something that we're used to, right? Learning about, different foods and different, things about the culture. And I think one thing that people can learn and understand is you can't move forward until you take a step back. And I think that, mic drop, and you can't, I think people can definitely take that and understand that, you got to know, or there's another saying, I'm going to drop another one. Here we go. I think I know what it is. You can't understand your destination until you know where you're from. And it's something, it goes something like that, but you know what I'm saying, right? And
TikTok has been good to you.
It has, thank you. And, I just think that for me personally and for the viewers, it will help people understand that, you may not be at a point in your life where you love and you think it's going in the wrong direction, but just take a step back, enjoy the view, smile a little bit, and understand and trust and have faith that you're going in the right direction. Well,
all right, Gabby.
Yeah.
Good luck.
I'm gonna be horrible now compared to you two.
Wow.
I think Preston and Dad really said it all, but I'm just gonna add a little bit onto it. I hope that people who watch Paano to Pinoy and this that they just see a little bit of themselves that just within it. Like I think Dad and Preston hit all the points, but I really hope that they're like, oh, like actually I didn't know that either about the Philippines, or just like fun facts that we say throughout the show. Like I really hope that it really resonates with them as being like, oh, like they're like a quarter. They're like a little bit of barely Filipino, but still we hold on to that culture. We're still Filipino. It doesn't matter if we're quarter or half or full. We claim that culture completely. And so we really hope that the people watching accepts us for being quarter and also claiming the tradition and culture as well.
Well, I am so excited for the 4th of July to come, not just because it's Independence Day here in the United States. It's also because Paano to Pinoy will be available on YouTube on July 4th. And as I had the privilege of getting to know the three of you, I cannot wait to watch what you share come to life on the series. Congratulations on Paano to Pinoy, and I cannot wait to watch it on Mix Global's YouTube channel. Before we end, I just want to know, share where we can find you on social media.
Well, Gabby, you go first.
Oh, thank you. You can find me on Instagram. It's Planells _ I believe. Yeah, that's my only I have Snapchat too, but I'm not really on that. I'm more on Instagram.
So I got a couple. I am also on Instagram under PT Planells. You can see it right here. Spell it out. I'm also on TikTok. I am under Preston Positivity for anybody else trying to find a little motivation, trying to see the daily life of what I do. And I'm trying to get my Twitter game up. And hopefully next time we have an interview, I'll be able to give you guys that link. So we're going to get there. There's levels with the game,
You could find me on Instagram and TikTok at Coach HP Jr. So that's Instagram, TikTok. And then you could follow my food Instagram. It's called Leftovers and Hangovers. Where I do food reviews with everything else. But, message us, whatever we can do to help or anything at all. I mean, as you can tell, we're big givers, and we're huge on family. And I think at the end of the day, that's what we all are as a community.
Well, this concludes the episode of Bridging the Gap. To stay updated on future episodes, considering following this podcast on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, or even on YouTube. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel at Hellarea if you love the video version of these interviews. Follow me on Instagram at Hellarea and at Hella Interviews. Hella Interviews will be the place where you can get consistent updates on new episodes of Bridging the Gap and interviews with your favorite Capamilia stars. So make sure you follow at Hella Interviews. Till then, be courageous and see you there.